We celebrated the 80th anniversary of D-Day. It was a failure. It was the unnecessary war described by Winston Churchill. We had a dozen chances to stop Hitler. We celebrated the 80th anniversary of D-Day. It was a failure. It was the unnecessary war described by Winston Churchill. We had a dozen chances to stop Hitler.
Is it just me, or is anyone else ever tired of just fucking tired of hearing goddamn Marjorie Taylor Greene say, "I'm speaking for the American people"? No, she's not. She's speaking for her greedy ass, stupid self. Her ignorant, unintelligent dipshittery of Russian garbage and QAnon propaganda. Oh my God, Marjorie, I hope you see this. You're not smart. You're not smart, you're a traitor, and you do not speak for Americans. You do not speak for Americans. You speak for Schnazis. That's who you speak for. You do not speak for Americans. Schnazis don't belong in this country that I served in the United States Navy. You didn't do shit. You've done nothing but try to destroy this country, and I'm fucking tired of hearing your goddamn voice spewing out that you're speaking for all Americans. Fuck you, Marjorie.
Scrambling. That is just the best description to describe James Comer, who is on with the head of conspiracy theories, Maria what's her name on Fox, and he's still trying to scramble something with this Biden family corruption. There is nothing. There really isn't. And I don't understand how this is playing out to the areas where it's swing states. Obviously, within the Trumpy-Trump world, the Bidens are the most corrupt family ever. But back in the normal world, is this really taking effect? Well, obviously, those who watch Fox can't get enough of this, but it's just garbage.
And James Biden over perjury for lying to Congress. Where are the criminal referrals if that's all true? Where are the criminal referrals for FARA, for money laundering, for corruption, for influence peddling? Where are these?
Yeah. Well, we're just beginning, Maria, and a lot of those crimes that the Bidens have committed, the statute of limitations has run out. That was one of the complaints that the Irish whistleblower said when we had him testify in our committee. But we're going to deal with those, and we're going to deal with Joe Biden. Remember, this is an investigation of Joe Biden. Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, Eric Sherwin, Devin Archer, these are all witnesses in an investigation of Joe Biden. This was always about Joe Biden. Now, we're going to do everything we can to hold Hunter Biden and all the different shady associates accountable. This is just the beginning, but the next step will be accountability for Joe Biden. I think everyone that's kept up with this investigation will be very eager to see what the next step is. This is the first step, these criminal referrals. Everything that we refer to the Department of Justice is within the statute of limitations. In fact, there's 5-year statute of limitations. So if Merrick Garland's Department of Justice doesn't take this up in an appropriate manner, then the next administration and a new attorney general certainly can. The investigation's already been done. And with these criminal referrals, we published a 60-page report of nothing but hard evidence that no one has made a comment disputing anything we provided in the evidence.
Okay. So
the Democrats in Washington don't like Kamala Harris at all. They would prefer Joe Biden over Kamala Harris.
Merrick Garland's time there and Biden's DOJ. Are you saying that we could expect a criminal referral against Joe Biden for money laundering? Is that what you just said?
Well, I think that it's no secret Joe Biden's committed many crimes, and I think that you're going to see a report very soon. That report is imminent. That'll probably be an interim report that updates everyone on the crimes that Biden and his administration have committed throughout this investigation.
I've said time and time again that some politicians are briefed on what to say when they appear in front of a cable news camera, microphone, etc., etc. Dog killer Noam is in fact, she doesn't even know which particular fix-up she's meant to be talking about. Watch what she says.
That's what New York was. New York, that was definitely a rigged election or a rigged judicial process against the president, politically motivated. See.
You mentioned your book, so I'm going to ask you about that because in that book, No Going Back, you came under pretty intense criticism, even from some members of your own party, because you shared a story about shooting and killing your 14-month-old dog, Cricket. Now that you've had time to process all of that, in all candor, do you have regrets?
You know, that story is a 20-year-old story of a mom who made a very difficult decision to protect her children from a vicious animal that was attacking livestock and killing livestock and attacking people. So it's in the book because it was difficult for me. And there's a lot in that book that I think people need to read. I don't know if you've read it or not.
I read the whole thing.
But it wouldn't be in the book if it wasn't a very hard situation. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you did. Thank you for doing that. But there's a lot in that book that's very important, and I hope people will read it because it's a how-to guide for the average citizen on how to get their government back and why I believe that we need to have President Trump back in the White House.
Yeah, I did read the whole thing, and so I have the entire context of that incident.
Good.
And so what I'm hearing is no regrets, not just about writing about it, but
we've
of
covered
actually shooting the dog.
We've covered this, and I'm a mom and protected my children from a vicious animal. We just had a 9-year-old boy in South Dakota killed just days ago from a dog. You know, that happens. And you know, that 9-year-old boy will never be in his parents' lives again. He'll never be in his family's lives again. I think people are put in tough situations in life, and we learn from it. And we learn a lot from it.
What did you learn?
And that's what I've talked a lot in that book, Dana. I've learned that challenging times and hard decisions are hard. And that when you get into public office, you learn from every single one of them, and you use that knowledge to go forward and to make wise decisions that are best for America. That's why Joe Biden's such a train wreck. The guy's 80 years old and making the worst decisions I've ever seen him make in his entire life and destroying our country, not just on the foreign policy stage by what he's doing in the Middle East, but also what he's doing on our economy, and he's putting every other country and our enemies in front of America. And I think that's just horrible right now. Do you realize, Dana, that what he did last week is that when the Trump verdict came out in his trial, Joe Biden held a press conference announcing a deal between Israel and a terrorist organization that was not agreed to, and he did it during Shabbat. I mean, how disrespectful to the Jewish people to hold a press conference that they can't even respond to for religious reasons. Okay. You know, I just believe that we've got people that really we need to recognize how weak this president is. And you were talking about hostages earlier in your show. You know, is Jimmy Carter, who Iran held hostages for 444 days under Jimmy Carter because he was weak back in 1979 and 1980. And the day Ronald Reagan was inaugurated, they were released because they recognized that Ronald Reagan would be a strong president. We've got the exact same situation here in America. Why are we not there getting our Americans home? Yeah. Why are we not telling Hamas, give us our Americans back? Why are we not telling Russia to give us our journalists back?
Yeah, I think
the number one thing that this president should be doing is protecting Americans.
Yeah.
Go get our Americans and bring them home. That's what I'm upset about.
Yeah, I think there's a lot there. Maybe you can come back and we're out of time. We can talk more about it. But obviously, President Biden is very aggressively trying to get.
We are going to talk about the error, Congressman, and you name a race-based law. Then you cannot take race out of the fact Jim Crow was a law against black people. You weren't just talking about the era of Dwight Eisenhower and Harry Truman. You named Jim Crow. There's only one way you could deal with Jim Crow, and that's by race. I mean, look, you and I have mutual friends. People say you're a straight shooter. We may disagree on politics. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But look, you were born in Brooklyn. You went down into the South, went to Florida State. You have an interracial marriage. You're the congressman of a district that's not a black district. I mean, how can you even live with yourself acting like Jim Crow was a good era or better era for blacks? What happened to you?
Okay, that's real cute. That's real cute. I did not say that. And I'm not going to sit here and have to insinuate that against you, because right now you're lying about what I said. I did say Jim Crow. I did reference it 3 times. That's not to say that it was better. I never said that. Those words never came out of my mouth. When are you going to get that through your skull and everybody else's skull? I never said that. And the difference between me and a lot of other Republicans, I'm not going to sit
what you
here.
said.
I'm
You
not
said it was better for us
I'm not going to let you
under
lie
Jim
on me.
Crow to
You
bring
are
families
lying.
together. Did you say
Everybody
that?
is lying. Hakeem Jeffries was lying. The Biden campaign was lying.
All right.
Go look at my words.